Good morning, everyone. This is Raghu, Assistant Professor of Biotechnology from SRN BGNR Government College, Khammam. So, today's topic is isolation, identification, and preservation of bacteria. So, in this topic, we will discuss how to isolate the microorganisms and what are the different sources from which we can isolate the microorganisms. After that, we will identify the microorganisms. That means, what are the methods to be followed for the identification of bacterial species? And also, after identification, how we will preserve this bacterial species? So, these are the different methods that we are going to be discussed for the isolation, identification, and preservation of bacterial species. So, we can isolate bacteria from water, soil, as well as air. So, bacterial species are ubiquitous in nature, they are present everywhere. So, we can isolate these bacterial species from different sources like soil, water, and air. So, if you are going to isolate microorganisms from air, you will prepare a solid medium and expose that particular solid medium to air. So that means you prepare a solid medium, you sterilize that solid medium, you pour it in a petri dish. After the solidification process, you subject that petri dish to air, then close the petri dish and incubate at 37 degrees centigrade in incubator. After 24 hours, you will find some colonies on the medium. So that is one of the process. Sometimes you can use a liquid broth. You take a liquid broth in a conical flask and you can open the mouth of the conical flask for some time and after that close it and incubate that flask. Then you will get turbidity, which you can measure by spectrophotometer, and you can isolate the bacterial species from that particular broth medium. So that is another process. If it is from soil, you take 1 gram of soil and dissolve that 1 gram of soil in 100 ml of water or 1000 ml of water. Then you will get a group of bacterial species in those water which is dissolved with soil. From that, collect 1 ml and transfer into a test tube containing 9 ml of sterile distilled water. Or sterile, sometimes you can use sterile medium also. So in this case, you use sterile distilled water and you serial dilute it by transferring 1 ml, 1 ml, 1 ml as shown in this figure. So from the conical flask, you collected 1 ml and that 1 ml is dissolved in 9 ml. That gives a dilution factor of 10. That means 1:10 dilution. From that 10 ml, you again take 1 ml and transfer it into second tube. Then it will give 1:100 dilution. After that, if you go on transferring 1 ml, 1 ml from each test tube to preceding test tube or next test tube, adjacent test tube, then you will get 1:1000 dilution factor, 1:10,000, 1:1 lakh, 1:10 lakhs, which is shown in the above figure. So that is the dilution factor. So why we dilute this microbial sample? Because the number of bacterial species that is present in the sample will be more. If you perform this particular serial dilution method, you can reduce the number of bacteria and you can get pure cultures after cultivation of this serially diluted sample. So serial dilution is a process which is used for isolation of pure cultures. So this is the technique which is used for isolating the pure cultures. So this is how you serially dilute the sample. 1 gram of soil is dissolved in 100 ml of water or 1000 ml of water sometimes, and it is serially diluted by drawing 1 ml to adjacent test tubes one by one. So now this each tube can be used for inoculation, for isolation of your bacteria. So you will select a serial dilution from the above tubes. After incubation of the petri dishes, if you get a pure isolated colonies. So how to get these pure isolated colonies from the serially diluted samples? So we have different dilutions, 1:10, 1:100, 1:1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakhs. So all the test tubes you can use for incubation. So that means you can collect a drop of sample from these test tubes and you can incubate it in nutrient agar medium where you get colonies of the bacteria. And you can clearly see in which dilution you get the isolated bacterial colonies. So you select that for further isolation of your bacterial species. So how to get these pure colonies? So how to obtain these pure colonies? So you have serially diluted your sample. So that is one of the test tube showing here in pour plate method. In pour plate method, what you will do is you prepare nutrient agar medium and you sterilize that particular nutrient agar medium. After sterilization, you cool down that particular nutrient agar medium such that there is no harm to the bacteria which is present in your bacterial suspension. Now add 1 ml of bacterial sample into the petri dish which is shown in the figure, and now add your nutrient agar medium in the petri dish and mix it well. After that, you close the petri dish and incubate that particular petri dish. You can clearly see the bacterial isolated colonies. So from all the test tubes, all the serially diluted test tubes, you can follow this method for each test tube, one petri dish. And in which petri dish you got the serially isolated pure colonies, you can collect that particular petri dish. And you can use that serial dilution for further bacterial experiments. So in this method, so it is a pour plate method where bacterial suspension is placed in the petri dish and after that medium is introduced into the petri dish. Sometimes you can mix the bacterial suspension with the medium and after that you can pour that medium into the petri dish. Anything in liquid molten state of nutrient medium, you will introduce your bacterial suspension. So that is how to isolate the pure colonies by pour plate method. So other one is spread plate method. In this method, you will first prepare the nutrient agar medium, you sterilize it, you pour that nutrient agar medium on a petri dish under sterile conditions using laminar airflow chamber. After that, you introduce your bacterial suspension, a drop onto this nutrient agar medium, and now spread this nutrient sample evenly on the surface of the nutrient agar medium with the help of a spreader. So with the help of a spreader, you will spread the inoculated bacterial suspension. So you can use n number of petri dishes for your n number of serially diluted samples. And in which serially diluted sample you will get pure colonies, you collect that sample. So you place the drop of suspension of your serially diluted sample. After that, you spread the serially diluted sample with the help of a spreader. So now after spreading, you incubate this particular petri dish in incubator at 37 degrees centigrade and allow the bacterial colonies to grow. So this is how you obtain pure colonies by spread plate method. So this is called spread plate method. So the next one is streak plate method. So in this method, you will streak the bacterial sample on the surface of the nutrient agar medium. So again, as spread plate method, you prepare nutrient agar medium, pour it in petri dish, allow it to solidify. After that, you incubate your sample. That means you will take a loop and you dip that particular loop in your bacterial sample. After dipping, you collect that loop and streak on the surface of nutrient agar medium. So you can see the different streaking methods which is shown in the figure. So quadrant streak, the first one is quadrant streak on the four sides, and a normal streak and a spiralum streak and other modes of streaking methods. So at the end of the streak, you will get the pure colonies. So you can collect that from the petri dishes after incubation in the incubator. So these are the three methods for isolating pure cultures from the sample solution. So this is the difference between pour plate and spread plate method. In pour plate method, both the sample and nutrient medium are mixed, and then you will allow the petri dish to solidify, and after that you will incubate. In spread plate method, the nutrient medium is solidified. After that you will introduce your sample, and that particular sample is spread over the nutrient agar medium. So these are the pure culture methods that are followed for the isolation of the bacteria from the sample solution. So after isolation of pure cultures, you can subculture that bacteria species from pure cultures to n number of cultures with the help of different petri dishes, and you can identify that bacterial species or microbial species identification with the following techniques. So that means microbial identification can be done by microscopy. So that means after staining, and growth of bacteria on enrichment selective differential medium, or by performing specific biochemical tests. So each bacterium will be giving a specific biochemical test. So you can identify these bacterial species with this biochemical test also. And immunological tests. So antigen specificity. So the bacterial species will be having different antigens on their surface. By immunological techniques also you can identify that particular bacterial species. And by molecular methods, by using PCR, DNA hybridization, etc. You can also identify these microorganisms, especially the species of the microorganisms. After the microbe is identified, you can use these samples for susceptibility tests. So you can use susceptibility tests for identification of these microorganisms. So these are the different types of methods that are followed for the identification of microbial species. So the first method, that is staining process, which is used for the identification of bacterial species. Gram staining is the staining method that is widely used for the identification of the bacterial species. So gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria. How you differentiate between gram positive and gram negative bacteria? That is with the help of this gram staining, which is introduced by Christian Gram, where you use different stains for the identification or differentiation between gram positive and gram negative bacteria. In this process, first you will subject the bacterial species to fixation, either chemical fixation or heat fixation. So you will take a slide, you will place your drop of sample on the slide, and you use chemicals like glutaraldehyde for chemical fixation, or sometimes you use light heat or temperature for heat fixation. So after fixation of this bacterial sample to the slide, you use crystal violet for staining of the bacteria. So crystal violet is spread over the slide and is kept for 30 seconds. After that you will wash the crystal violet, and after that you treat with iodine for again 30 seconds, and you will wash on running tap water. So after iodine treatment, you clearly see gram positive bacteria, they did not decolorize. So crystal violet still remains with the gram positive bacteria, where gram negative bacteria decolorization takes place due to puncture of the bacterial cell membranes, where the stain will be removed from the gram negative bacteria. After that you use counter stain safranin. After counter staining, the gram negative bacteria only they will take the counter stain. So since gram positive bacteria already contains the crystal violet, they does not take safranin. Only gram negative bacteria they will take the counter stain safranin. So after performing gram staining, you can clearly see the gram negative bacteria are pink in color and the gram positive bacteria are purple in color. So here in this diagram, rods are seen, rod shaped bacteria are shown. You can identify the morphology also, whether it is cocci, spirillum, etc., with the help of this staining method. So this is the primary identification of the bacterial species, whether it belongs to gram positive bacteria or gram negative bacteria, and also shape of the bacteria. So that is gram staining. So after performing gram staining, after identification of your bacteria, whether it is gram positive or gram negative bacteria, you can perform biochemical tests. These are the biochemical tests which will differentiate the species of the bacteria. Each bacterial species will give a specific biochemical reaction. With the help of these biochemical reactions, we can identify the species of the bacteria. So these are the biochemical tests are like this: citrate utilization test, urea utilization, oxidase test, nitrate reduction test, catalase test, coagulase test, triple sugar iron test, etc. And this is the chart that is showing identification of bacteria based on the biochemical tests. So you can identify the morphology by gram staining and also shape of the bacteria by gram staining. So that is morphology. After identification of morphology, you can perform the biochemical tests like glucose utilization, sucrose utilization, lactose utilization, mannose utilization, indole test, methyl red test, VP means Vaux progressor test, citrate utilization test, urea test, gelatinase test, catalase test, and motility test, and oxygen requirement test. So you can see on the left side different bacterial species like Bacillus, Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus species, Staphylococcus, Micrococcus, Proteus, Enterobacteria, Serratia, E. coli, Pseudomonas. So these are the different bacterial species and their morphology. And you can clearly see, for example, if you see Micrococcus, you can compare the bacterial species based on the differentiate the bacterial species based on the biochemical test. Take for example Micrococcus and Staphylococcus. So glucose utilization, it is positive for Staphylococcus and it is negative for Micrococcus. Same like all the other biochemical tests, but the only biochemical test that is given positive by the Micrococcus roseus is catalase test. Only catalase test it is showing positive, rest of all it is showing negative, whereas Staphylococcus it is showing only indole negative, citrate negative, gelatinase negative, and motility negative. So this is how the bacterial species give their reactions and respond to biochemical tests. So like this, the unknown bacterial species can be identified by performing the biochemical tests. So this is the chart that is showing identification of different bacterial species based on the biochemical tests. And after performing biochemical tests, you can grow the bacterial species, and also bacterial species requires some special type of mediums, and also those species will grow on those special type of mediums only. For example, you can see some common type of medium, nutrient agar medium. It is a routine culture which is used for all the types of bacteria, whereas McConkey agar, you can see the composition: peptone, lactose, sodium thiocolate, agar, neutral red. So these are the composition of McConkey agar medium. So uses is, it is used for culturing gram negative bacteria such as E. coli. Only gram negative bacteria such as E. coli will grow on the McConkey agar medium. For example, blood agar. So it contains nutrient agar 5% sheep or human blood. So it is especially used for growing streptococcal species. So streptococcal species, they will give good result on the blood agar medium. And blood agar, only streptococcal species will grow. Chocolate agar, which is a modified blood agar, where blood is heated, it will turn to chocolate brown. That is used for the culturing of Haemophilus influenza and Neisseria species. So Neisseria, causative agent of syphilis, Haemophilus influenza can be identified based on their growth nature on the chocolate agar medium. And deoxycholate citrate agar for culturing Shigella and Salmonella species. Thiosulfate citrate bile salt sucrose for culturing Vibrio culre. Loeffler's serum slope medium for Corynebacterium diphtheriae, and Lowenstein Jensen medium for Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So you can clearly see the composition of the medium and the type of speciality of each medium based on the ingredient. and for which they are used for the identification of special type of bacterial species like Streptococcus, Haemophilus, Vibrio, Corynebacterium, Mycobacterium, tuberculosis, etc. So by using the special type of mediums also, you can grow the special type of bacterial species. So you can see the McConkie agar medium here. So McConkie agar medium. So McConkie agar medium, lactose fermenting colonies, non-lactose fermenting colonies. So you can see Escherichia coli and also Enterobacterial aerogens, Proteus, Salmonella, Staphylococcus aureus. So like this, you can grow the bacterial species, and also this is how they behave on the medium that is used for their growth. So that is McConkie agar medium, which is used for lactose fermenting and non-lactose fermenting bacterial species. So this is bread agar medium, which is used for the isolation of streptococcal species. So on blood agar medium, so different hemolysis you can clearly see. Beta hemolysis, streptococcus pyrogens, you can clearly see completely beta hemolysis took place. Alpha hemolysis by E. coli and gamma hemolysis by Staphylococcus. So each bacterial species will show a different growth conditions and also growth symptoms, that means indications, growth indications on the type of agar medium. So those are the selective or enrichment or different compositions of the medium which is used for the growth of the microorganisms and also which are used for the identification of the bacterial species. While coming to the molecular identification, so molecular identification is based on the PCR technique, quantitative PCR, and also DNA hybridization assays, and also 16S ribosomal RNA sequence analysis, and also FISH techniques. So by using PCR, you can construct primers which are specific for a specific bacterial species. With the help of these specific primers, you can amplify the DNA of the bacterial species. If amplification took place, you can identify the bacterial species. So this identification can be also be quantified with the help of quantitative PCR. So that is identification of bacteria based on the PCR technique. And also by DNA hybridization methods, you use specific probes which are used for the hybridization of bacterial species DNA or identification of some special genes which are related to antigenic properties of special species of bacteria. For this technique, for easy identification and performing n number of experiments in a single experiment, you use DNA microarrays. So DNA microarray technology is a technique where in a petri dish you can use different probes for different bacterial species and you can incubate this bacterial DNA with these probes that are present in the wells, and you can read it on a DNA microreader chip. So chip reading can be done and you can able to identify which type of bacterial species is present in your sample. So next one is ribosomal RNA. You can identify the 16S ribosomal RNA sequence by performing some bioinformatic techniques where you can obtain the sequence of bacterial 16S ribosome, 16S rRNA. After that, you can blast or use faster techniques, algorithms for the identification of bacterial species. And by using FISH technique, fluorescent in situ hybridization, you can use fluorescent probes for identification of special genes for a particular for special species of bacteria or for a particular bacteria. Then you can use microscopy for identification of that bacteria using FISH technique. So that is how you will identify your bacterial species after isolation by performing gram staining, biochemical test, and molecular identification methods. So next one is, after isolation and identification, you store the microorganisms. That is the preservation process. So the preservation methods are like this: short-term preservation methods and long-term preservation methods. So short-term preservation methods include frequently transferring the bacterial species from one medium to fresh medium, immersion in oil, freezing at minus 20 degrees, drying, storage in distilled water. So that is short-term preservation methods. And long-term methods are used ultra low temperature freezing and also lyophilization. It is also called as freeze drying method. The first one is periodic transfer onto fresh medium. So that means subculturing. So always you can subculture the bacterial species onto the fresh medium. Whenever the petri dish is overloaded with the bacteria, you can transfer that bacterial species onto a fresh medium, or you can use serial dilution method. After serial dilution method, you can subculture onto a fresh medium. So but the main problem with this transferring is, after repeated subculture, there is a possibility of strain change of the bacterial species due to mutations, because the cultural conditions will be varying. If you are subculturing by maintaining all the cultural conditions exactly without any variation in temperature, pH and osmolarity, then there is less chances of strain deviation. So like this you can store the bacterial species, but you have to maintain these bacterial species for longer times without contamination. So the other method is overlaying the culture with mineral oil. So in this method you use sterile mineral oil. After growing the bacteria on the petri dish or a test tube by agar slants or any nutrient or differential medium, you use sterile mineral oil. That means you pour sterile mineral oil on the surface of the petri dish or on the surface of the capped tubes and seal it properly under sterile conditions, and you can maintain this culture for about 15 to 20 years. So that is the capacity of storage in mineral oil. So that is how you will store bacterial species in mineral oil. And also you can store the bacterial species in sterile soil. So this method is used especially for preserving spore forming bacteria and fungi. In this method, sterilized soil is used for storing the microorganisms. So soil sterilized, then spore suspension is added into it aseptically. Then the mixture is dried at room temperature and stored in refrigerator. So that means sterile soil and mixture of your bacterial sample, both are mixed under sterile conditions, and you can refrigerate that soil sample for about 70 to 80 years. The microorganism will be viable in this sterile soil. That means only those bacteria which will be spore forming. Okay, so the next one is saline suspension. In this method, to provide osmotic pressure to the microorganism, saline suspension is used. Because high salt concentrations will inhibit the microorganisms, so you use a saline suspension that will give equal osmolarity to the bacterial species. Organisms are kept in screw cap bottles in normal saline stored at room temperature. So that is the method of saline suspension, storage in saline suspension. So the other methods include drying in vacuum. So methods where organisms are suspended in metabolic state. So that means the organism is freezed at a metabolic state, and from that metabolic state again you can regain that bacterial species. So that is organisms freezing in suspended metabolic state. So one is drying in vacuum. In this technique, organisms are dried over chemical instead of air dry. Cell is passed over calcium chloride in vacuum and stored in refrigerator. So that means cells are placed on calcium chloride and a vacuum is passed, and that particular solid now you can store it in a refrigerator. So drying in vacuum. So the next one is lyophilization. It is also called as freeze drying technique. It works on the principle of sublimation. So what you will do here is cell grown in nutrient medium and then culture distributed in small vials. So the cells which are you have grown in nutrient medium are suspended in liquid, and those liquid which containing your bacterial species are placed in small vials. Now these vials are immersed in dry ice and alcohol at minus 78 degrees. The vials immediately connected to vacuum line and completely dried and sealed under vacuum. So this is called as lyophilization. So the bacterial species which have to be stored are placed in vials and subjected to dry ice and alcohol at minus 78 degrees. After that, a vacuum is used to remove the water completely, and also it is vacuum sealed. So this is called as lyophilization or freeze drying technique. You can store the microorganisms up to 20 years by using this freeze drying method. So the next one is use of liquid nitrogen at minus 190 degrees centigrade. So liquid nitrogen will give a temperature minus 196 degrees centigrade. So in this method, the microorganisms to be stored are mixed with cryoprotective agents like glycerol or dimethyl sulfoxide. After that, you plunge or dip these microorganisms containing vial in liquid nitrogen, where the organisms are cryopreserved in the liquid nitrogen. So the other method is storage in silica gel. So sterile silica powder is used. You mix your bacterial species to be stored in sterile silica powder and freeze it at low temperatures. So this method you can maintain the cultures up to 2 years. So this is how you store or preserve the microorganisms using different methods. So if you are going to freeze the microorganism for longer periods, the best methods are use of mineral oil or lyophilization or use of liquid nitrogen. So that is how you will isolate the microorganisms, identify the bacterial species, and storage using different methods of storage.